Hey everyone, it's me T coming at you with a really happy freaking setup. I fixed the height on this and I'm super excited. All right. So and very happy to be on because literally all I have to say is there is so much going on. There's so much going on energetically. And it's really crazy because I feel like I'm coming on at, everything is divine timing. But I feel as though some people like me may be going through some freaking certain vibes right now that like are not cute. Um, in terms of, I'm just trying to open up my fucking channel. Hold on one second, guys. Because let me just tell you something. So this morning, I'm just going to share with you like the energy of today in terms of how I was feeling, because it possibly could relate. Literally, oh my god, my hair is crazy. I just got out of the shower and it's just like I just like threw it up. So excuse me, but that's just how it's gonna have to be because I was like, fuck it, I don't even give a shit. And because I was like, the most important thing for me to do right now is literally this reading because I was getting to come on at 8 and I'm a little late. And not only that, but what I want to say here is there's a lot of frustration coming up. Like the second half of the day was just, it was coming on and I don't know what it is. But then as I was plugging in the what's it called, the date for today, I realized today is 3/11, which adds up to 5, which is positive change, but it's passionate. Like there's a roar coming out. Like it's so interesting because I haven't felt that in a long time. But what I'm feeling is that it's going to be more so like this is like a reset, right? Because in Mercury retrograde we're all about the re's, right? So and I always think Rihanna Riri, right? But but literally that's what it is. Like I feel like this is like just a fiery kind of like essence coming up. It's like a roar and it's passionate, but it's also to kind of like shake things up within you to kind of get things like cleansed out of your soul because fire is actually a very cleansing element. So it's kind of like burning up all the shit that like no longer serves you in a sense. And it's allowing for, and also there's a lot of like solar flares going on too, which means like there's a lot of sun activity. So it all makes sense in terms of the fire passionately, like the ball of fire. Like that's how you feel, I think, in this moment, because I know how I feel. And it could have happened to you prior to this video. It could have happened now, or it can happen after. Because I did hear, I love this reader, Soul Source Tarot. I actually just, I think in her reading today, she was saying that she was feeling this ball of, like, she was like, oh, something's about to go down, right? Like, she had said it a few days ago, and I was like, I didn't even think anything of it. And she repeated it again today. And I was like, oh, I haven't gone through it, but maybe it's just her. But now I'm like, oh, no, this is what she was fucking talking about. And so I just want to say thank you to her as a reader because of the fact that if I didn't kind of keep up with, other people's readings to kind of, because I'm human too. So I like to have readings too done, right? And also I like to expand my mind in terms of mindset and how people think and how people express themselves. So that was like something that she had shared that I didn't pick up on, for instance, right? And that was not something I even had in mind, but when it started coming up, I'm like, what is this? And then I was like, Soul Source Tarot had mentioned that there was going to be like kind of like a ball drop, like there's just this fire fucking element. Now what I'm sensing also, this could be your own or this could be your divine counterparts or both, so that's why it might feel like extra intense, but it's just because things are kind of like not dying out but burning out. Okay, so I'm gonna just sip on tea while I'm doing this because I just, so weird what my eyes just showed me. Wow. It's crazy. Yo, I'm telling you, this Pisces season has been some fucking wowness. That's all I gotta say. Thank you, A-Team. So do I get right into these right now? Okay, so I'm gonna get right into these cards in terms of just asking the usual, which is A Team in Spirit. Thank you so much for showing us the highest and best 2 cards at the top of this deck, representing the highest and best yin and yang for today's natural, authentic, and native energies, along with the universes, along with how they apply to our knowledge and spirituality corner of our lives. Are you telling me to stop? Is it for my highest and best good to stop shuffling the cards right here, right now? All right, no. Do I stop shuffling the cards right here, right now? All right, yep. All right, so here are our yin and yang. Amen to that. Do we talk about the bottom of the card? Okay, they're saying yes. So do we do that right now? Okay, yeah, that's what I feel too. So here's what's going on. It's a 20, which is the, shit, I always forget. It's not the Hierophant. I usually can say that word. Hierophant. This is the, Temperance card, I think, is the 20. Let me just see real quick, guys. Temperance, or I'm like trying to do better with these. You know what I'm saying? Hold on one second, guys. Oh, Judgment. Sorry, I fucked it up. Yeah, that's true. Judgment. All right. So here it says reawakening, spiritual rebirth. There you go. Exaltation of art, dynamic force. Okay. So here's what's being burnt away is indecision, fears, loss, and guilt. That's exactly what's being burnt away. And if you notice that on your fucking daily, well, listen, I'm the type of person that actually works on my shit. So like anytime I notice it, even in the minor detail, I really try to nip it in the bud, like in terms of prayer, in terms of like, you know, redoing my mindset. So I just kind of like, I'm very direct in that sense. But here's what's going on also is what I'm getting. It's like Judgment is like the overall energy is, I mean, that's a lot of energy if you think about it, burning up that I just mentioned. But this is also because it's a double 10. So it's kind of like yesterday we went through a 10, which is a closing out of a cycle. Today is like, I feel like probably 2 cycles closing out. And if not, then a cycle closing out and one starting anew, you know. Oh my God, it's so funny. I look down and there's this one like character here that looks like E.T. So it's like, so that really could be like somebody phone home, you know, E.T. phone home, but also, like this could be, yeah, I mean, just like, listen, to me, angels are also extraterrestrial, you know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting. This is definitely, I mean, the Judgment card is like definitely like we're being worked on from the heavens for sure. But what I'm also like noticing or feeling here is that there is like, again, this is like kind of like karma, but in a sense, and it's, oh my God, this is crazy that I'm saying karma because, okay, today, do I go into it? Okay, today, funny story. In my this is hilarious. My aunt is over, and so we were just talking about something, and she was like, and she was expressing something and about karma, right? She was like, oh, so it's karma, whatever. And then my grandma couldn't really hear her, and so she goes, sarma, because sarma in our country is a meal that we prepare for in the wintertime, right? So she couldn't really hear her, so she's like, what about sarma, right? And I was like, oh shit, this is so funny. It's like, so I started laughing because I was like, yeah, karma sarma, like that's exactly, you know, like what the fuck, like is what we're all about, right? So I just started busting out laughing because I was like, I love when like the little innocent essence of like an elderly person just like shines through. I love that shit so much. I live for those moments because they come up with the craziest shit too, just like little kids, you know? And so I was like running around the house like a little kid also, and I was like, karma, sarma, karma, like all this shit. And I was just having fun with it. And then it's so funny because my aunt had been saying it for the longest time that she was going to make it. That's just a side note. And today was the day to make it, especially because there's a whole bunch of, it's made with cabbage. So it's like a whole bunch of cabbages out now in the stores. And that's what we were talking about too, due to what's it called? St. Patty's Day, right? So we were just like laughing at how like everything was kind of like meant to be for this sarma that was made today, right? So my whole thing is, judgment. So this is like a cycle closing out, but also another one starting up in terms of karma, and also the delivery of karma. All right. So there's just a lot of like, I feel like fucking like, I don't even know what to call it, but I feel like the authentic self is coming out now, and that's what's being burnt up. Like everything that no longer serves you is being absolutely burnt up within you, like the kind of last minute things, in terms of, you having to have the heavens help on, right? So it's one of those things. So if you can start breathing deeply, or if you can get into meditation, that'd be so awesome. And that's especially if you're feeling these types of energies, that is the that's coming through. Oh shit, this is so cool. Okay, so we have, wow, this is crazy cool. All right, so we have the number 5, which is the Hierophant. I believe that's legitimately the Hierophant. And why was I talking about the Hierophant before? That's interesting. I don't know why I was talking about the Hierophant. Oh, so, and that's crazy because the Hierophant came out. Wow, I'm so like weirded out, but in a good way. All right. So it says analytical intelligence, moral law, salvation granted by equilibrium. Okay. And what you're trying to make right here is, it says falsity and abuse. Okay, so, but this is really interesting because I'm just going to go right into it. Like, so I don't know if you guys can see. Oh no, I would have to reverse it. So this is the yin card and this is the yang card, and they came out like this. Do you see the scene? They're like cheersing to each other. They're like kind of even exchanging information. They're like exchanging their knowledge. This is divine masculine, divine feminine. I mean, huge. That is so cool because I love when a scene comes out like that. And they're both sitting in their like very high vibed type of, like chairs, I guess. And so the 3 is the, I don't know, is it the star? What's the 3? Oh, the High Priestess. Oh shit, this is so cool. So we have the Hierophant and the High Priestess as the yang, and so the High Priestess is the mother, hidden knowledge, intuition, making right. I'm just putting in that sense because I'm telling that's how I feel like doing it, is superficial knowledge and haughtiness, and I don't know what that is. So long story short, here's what I'm sensing out of this. So there's definitely change going on. I mean, that's the first thing that I saw right away when I saw the 5. I was like, oh, that confirms that today is like 3 plus 1 and 2 out of the 11 is 5, right? So 5 is definitely like basically there's a change going on the inside. Hierophant usually also depicts marriage, so I want to say this is like more marriage to yourself, to the divine, absolutely to the divine, because today was like super interesting where it was like, where I know that when I was taking a shower, do I go into it? Because, and thank you 18, because this is so interesting. When I was taking a shower, there was something coming up where today I was getting pissed off, and very much so. I'm going to tell you this right now. It's funny that he's old, okay? Like, he's older and he's like wiser, but I was getting pissed off at the old, elderly, like just in general today, because I was just, and I don't know what got into my head, but I guess something that I was releasing, where it was like, I'm pissed off working with the adults in my life, and I literally was like, I quit my job today, just letting you know. Like, I told the universe, I was like, I'm quitting, fuck it, because I was like, I cannot be in the scene anymore because of the fact that there's so much fucking fear factor. And that's been like kind of like replaying in my head that I'm like, it's so interesting how the elderly or the older generation is so filled with fear, and they won't let a bitch live, and they won't let themselves live. Fuck me. Like, don't even fucking take me into consideration, but they won't let themselves live, right? Or create, or like do anything that's like young status until they get to a certain age where they're like, fuck it, we're gonna just like be young because we feel like we don't give a shit about life anymore, so they're gonna just like be free. But it's like, the whole thing is, so whatever, and I'm all about like freedom, but obviously a contained freedom where it's like a freedom that like is very much so beneficial to myself and to others, and not a detriment, not like I can be a wild child on my own without having it affect so many people, but also do it in a good way, right? Good and balanced way. So like my whole thing is, it's like, and so that to me is like my freedom, and or how I define it or whatever. I mean, it's not even, I can define freedom in so many different ways, but that's one of the ways. And so when I want to say, what I want to say here is like, literally, I was just like flabbergasted. Like, I was kind of like up to here. It wasn't even up to here. It was like up to here in terms of how the older generation really doesn't, like, I just had to like detach from it, because I was like, I cannot even thrive or survive with them around. I respect them a whole lot, but honestly, deep down inside, it pisses me off because of the fact that all my life, or that I only heard what I couldn't do, and like what the fear factor is around everything, and watch this and watch that, and I was like, fuck this shit. Like, I was like talking to the divine. And so going back to my story was, I was in the shower, and I was like, and I like literally like ripped through this veil. Like, I just felt like, as I was like, and I was like fighting in my mind. I was like battling my mind, where, you know, it was like, oh, but what about this? But what about this? And then I was like, yo, fuck this shit. I was like, I don't give a shit if I'm losing my fucking mind. I was like, all I know is that I'm going to literally lose my mind to the GOD and call it a day. I don't give a shit what I look like here on earth to anybody, because I was like, I just know that that's a happier life, and I'm going to go after it, and it's not going to be anything like drama-filled, fear-based. Like, I was like, I'm so done with fucking fighting my environment in terms of it being like an adult thing to do, is to worry about the risks and all this shit. And it's like, okay, how about we fucking decide to just be in our love status and call it a day? Because what's really happening to a lot of us that we don't realize is that if you are with a lot of adults or are a caretaker of adults, you literally are in that environment of which is a lot of fear-based shit, right? So it's kind of like, you have to free yourself like full throttle, and I did that today because I just like could not take it anymore. And so when I decided to take a shower, I kind of like released that, and I was like, and it was interesting how it all happened, because it was like the mind was like chugga 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 choo choo, and then you were just like, and then all of a sudden it was like a fucking blast, and then it just like, I was like, no, I'm actually going to side with, you know, the GOD, and that's it. Like, I don't give a shit, because it was kind of like back and forth, but what if this, but what if that, but what if you look this, like, and a lot of it comes down to how you look to the outside world. And literally, I was like detached from that. I was like, listen, I personally don't give a shit anymore about what I look like to the outside world, and may you literally get transmitted that energy, because of the fact that it was like, because I can tell you right now, I never gave a shit about that. Now, there's so many other people that quietly even, and this is what I'm saying environmentally, because there's an energetic environment that's happening around you on the invisible side, of which you have to be super high priestess, okay, which is what I am in a sense, where it's like, this is how you get your information, is through the energy of the space, rather than, and thank you, A-Team, I'm getting to get ginger, so anybody who's feeling their environment, please eat ginger today, because that'll help you in your nervous system. Because I didn't take mine today. I didn't eat a piece of mine today, even though, oh my God, it's like to me, it's like taking medicine. I can't even do it because it's so bitter. I'm like, I don't like that bitter shit, but if it's going to cleanse me and keep me fucking maintained, I'll do it. I don't give a shit. So whatever. So long story short, I was like busting through this thing. And may you have busted through it too, but what I'm saying about what I was saying about the high priestess is that the high priestess in a yang way has stepped into her motherfucking power today. I can tell you that right now. So before coming on here, there was something else I wanted to mention about, so I'm going back and forth, by the way, with the yin and yang, because I just feel like this is how I want to do it. So I'm just going to do that. But there was something else that I wanted to mention about the high priestess. All right, it'll come to me. It's okay. So, long story short, it's like the Hierophant and the high priestess are exchanging information today. They might even be a little bit more so battling it out, because again, look at like I'm going to switch them. Look at these cards like, oh no, oh, they were the correct way. Okay, interesting. So they're literally, it's like they're coming into, not even into union, but they're butting heads today. This is what I feel is going on a little bit, right? It's like harmonious, maybe like in the first part of the day, and then second part of the day was just like, no, fuck this shit, dude. Like, I mean, and there's, again, these are green cards, so these are healing cards, okay? There's a healing taking place. Also, very much so in the heart chakra, it was like the last of what you needed to let go in the heart chakra today, because I felt that too. There was a release earlier this morning. Actually, it could have even happened last night, where you could have released like in a crying sense. And then this morning you could have released just by kind of being with your mind and your heart and just doing like physical activity, that type of thing. So it could have released then. And then the aftermath of that releasing could have been major motherfucking just anger or like short fuseness. Okay, short fuse is actually what I'm really getting. Because the high priestess is honoring her power today, okay, on a very yang scale, and she's feeling. The thing is, that bitch feels, okay? So let me just tell you something. You're feeling this stuff, and what's really interesting is that she was facing backwards towards the elderly, which is beautiful because of the fact that, okay, to me, that's kind of like you're doing a great job in honoring the elderly, honoring the older generation, honoring the ancestors and angels, and and the soul fam in that sense, or it could be your regular fam. But at the same time, you're really coming to the realization today that you've been giving a little too much. You've also decided to kind of like what I see here, like her wand is her boundary, okay? So it's kind of like she's putting up her boundaries. They're like the fam that she has like behind her is kind of like and she's very forward moving because she's in the yang, right? She's in the yang position, so she's about to go after what she needs to go after. But also she's been with them for a very long time, and it seems like he's like pulling her in, like come here, I have stuff to teach you. And she's like listen, she's like, you stay back there, allow me to do my thing, and we'll meet again at some other point, okay? And she's very relaxed in this decision. Like, she's absolutely like super relaxed. Because she's also, like, she has stars on her head, on her crown, which is believer. And by the way, crown is also brain, all right? So she's very intelligent, very smart, knows exactly what the fuck she's doing and what she has to do for herself. And she's a huge believer. I mean, she has an abundance of stars on her head. So it's like a star crown. Wow, the crown to me represents the brain, because there's no other prettier way to kind of like represent the brain, I feel. Even though, like, hearts are hearts, right? But if you actually took a regular heart, it's not the prettiest thing, right? Just like a brain. The brain is not the prettiest thing, but a crown is like a prettier version that exemplifies the brain, right? So she's super smart. She's also super brilliant. And she has her shit together in her mind. That's the whole thing. It's like, but she's been doing this caretaking stuff for the elderly. This also could be a man in your life in terms of a elderly divine masculine. So it could be like a father figure, an elderly, I don't know. Oh, you'll have to see. Also, what I'm getting is that you might have dreams about somebody elderly in your lineage tonight. That comes to you and gives you a message, because there was a lot of messages coming from the heavens today in terms of again, like, this is a yin card, and he's kind of like pulling her in, and so to me that's like he has a message. So so there's basically, sometimes people want freedom, and the thing is, she's decided that she's going to get it, but she's also been working on it so fucking much, where it's like, this is going to stick with her for her entire life. Also, she's wearing white, so she's pure at her game. Like, she's like either like the purest in terms of ahead of her game. Like she might be like way surpass some people. She also might have gotten down to such clean simplicity in her life. And again, when I'm saying he or she, I'm only referring to the cards, but it could be any sex whatsoever in terms of however this story resonates to you, okay? The white is, to me, this is what I wanted to say, it's like a flag. It's like a I surrender flag. Like, I kind of like it's not that, like, when I said I quit my job being a caretaker, like, for the family, in that sense, like, that's what I did today. I was like, yeah, I quit. I'm fucking done. Like, I like, thank you, 18, for this opportunity, for all that I've learned, but I'm fucking done here. Like, I just, like, today was just like, that's a wrap. Like, that's it. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't so pretty in terms of saying that's a wrap. It was actually very hardcore, like, a little bit of anger, because I felt it coming out. I'm like, where is this even coming from? And then I was trying to decide. I was like, who am I angry at? Like, ooh, that's a confirmation. That's like, I literally kicked my thing. So I'm like, so I was like trying to figure out, like, who am I angry at? And then it just, like, it's a roar. It's like, you're done. Okay, that's basically what it is. It's like that roar had to come up for you to literally say, for you to step into your power and say to yourself, you are done, and you're moving on to the next fucking phase, because you can no longer, this is no longer you. I mean, this has nothing, what you're doing right now, it's like, it has nothing to do with what your potential is in terms of getting farther. And also, I'm seeing the yellow, which is your bright light. Like, I just feel like, you're working with, put it this way, this is what they keep wanting me to say, and I'm like not saying it. I don't know why that happens a bit. Where I was organizing today, right? And I expressed it to my aunt. I said, you know what I fucking hate? And she was like, what? And I was like, I fucking hate the aspect of, and this is legitimately, and I don't hate a lot of things, but I've been dealing with it for so long that this has been bothering me, right? Where it's like, when you like to organize, that's my creative element, and I like to do that, and I do it for the family. So again, you're doing stuff for the family, but you're also, as you're cleaning out stuff, which is very interesting, I was feeling a lot for the family. It wasn't just my shit, and actually it wasn't my shit that I was even touching. It was the family stuff, which I was like decluttering, where I was like, I was feeling it energetically. And so you could have been doing something for the family too today. And so as I was doing it, long story short, I was basically telling her, I said, I fucking am so pissed off and annoyed at the fact that people are willing to keep shit that they don't even like and work their life around the shit that they don't even like, okay? It's like they're making it work. They're trying to make it work. Like, I can make anything work. Like, you give me something, like, if in Feng Shui, I actually personally, like to use what I am working with, what I see within my realm, or grab from another room or whatever, right? Like, I like to puzzle piece things together. I actually don't like to even go out, even though I love fresh new vibes. You can create fresh new vibes with the things that you have, but also the things that you don't have. So it's kind of like, for me, I was thinking to myself, if I, and today, literally, if this helps you, God bless. I was thinking to myself, before I leave this house, I would love to, if it is even meant to be like, this needs to go, to just put red tape on everything, like whatever needs to go. This way you guys decide what you need to do. But the whole thing is, when it comes down to me, I know energetically, oh shit, 15, all right, I might have to get up and plug my stuff in, guys. I didn't even realize, it's all good, we're gonna figure it out. So energetically, I was literally feeling all this stuff as I was decluttering, and then energetically, I realize and I know what doesn't spark joy in my family or family members, and yet they're just still holding on to in terms of a lack mentality. But their lack mentality is like hoarding a whole bunch of shit. And then also, and this isn't just them, it's like I've seen this so many times, like, oh, well, hoarding so much stuff out of guilt. And we just talked about that release of guilt, or whatever it was. It was, the falsity, the abuse. There was something about guilt. High priestess, superficial, no, all right, hidden knowledge, intuition, I don't know, whatever. There was, I thought I read guilt somewhere, and I mean, but there is guilt in that too, where it's like, just release the shit. And when I say guilt, I mean, excuse me, if you receive something from somebody and you don't like it, right? It's like, it's so interesting in our society. It's just like, oh, it's really rude to say that you don't like something. And I'm like, actually, I think it's really real to say, hey, it's not my style, but thank you so much, and that type of thing. Now, that could mean that, people might be afraid to say that. And like, sometimes, and you have to feel it out. Not everybody can handle that, right? Like, so it's kind of like, okay, if there's somebody that really likes to play the fucking fake game, you kind of, and I'm not saying sway, I'm just saying like be gentle with them, okay? It doesn't have to be so clear and direct in terms of like, listen, I don't fucking like your gift, take it fucking back and call it like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, accept it because it's a beautiful thought, right? And some people are very afraid to say that because they might come off rude. They might not receive gifts any longer. And let me just tell you something. I love gifts, but if a person that isn't my style, I had to go through this with my mom too. Like, she loves giving gifts, and I love receiving gifts, and I love giving gifts too. But the whole thing is, she gives gifts from her style and doesn't understand my style. And sometimes, it's like a burden on me. So I tell her, I'm like, Mom, I really don't need gifts. Thank you so much. I love you, and I appreciate you thinking of me. But like, if you want to give me a gift, like, give me something neutral, like money or something like that, because of the fact that it just doesn't, like, it's like burdening a person, like having to hold on to it. Oh, my mom gave it to me, so what am I do sometimes because I live with her right now. So it's like, so she's gonna, like, I can't be breaking her heart all the time, but like, I know that, like, in my own space, like, it's one of those things that I protect it, and I do the best type of protection ever, that, like, in terms of having to do that, because in small spaces you really need to protect a little bit better so that it doesn't get too fucking overwhelming, and damn, can it get overwhelming. What was I gonna say? So, long story short, like, I was even rude with my Gma today, dude. I was like, yo, God help us all, because this bitch T, like, your muse, Tina, your illuminated muse, Tina, is, like, really becoming very luminous. And let me just tell you something. It's not a cute process sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So, I just felt like I was like, yo, everybody leave me the fuck alone. Like, I even told my grandma, I was like, and I made sure you remember, I was like, do not even fucking knock on my door. I was like, good night now, and that's it. Like, I had to be so harsh. So there are harsher energies coming up, but that's only because you have to put boundaries up. Like, this is like the ending of, like, fucking no longer are we dealing with this shit. Like, no longer, And I was even thinking, so it was really interesting with the high priestess. She doesn't give up. Like when she puts when she puts this wand in front of your face to be like back off, she will constantly come back with that back offness until you give up, because of the fact that she's never giving up. Today was like something that also happened with that, and it's been happening where I'm like, you know what? I just have to accept it. If people are not going to accept my ways, which is fine, because I've been like the overseeing manager of things, right? So I'm like, and I thank God I'm harmonious, because I make it sound like I'm a fucking beast, but I'm only in beast mode right now. And I haven't been in beast mode in a long time, but I kind of like it at the same time, because I've been waiting for something to like get me out of my like, be the nice person, be like like I wanted a roar. I wanted some wildness in my life, because I just feel like everybody is so like neutral and like just doing their thing and trying to be good peeps, and like, yeah, you can be good peeps and you can be wild peeps at the same time. I love both, so I'm like, I want to be both, so I mean, there's just this beautiful type of I locked my door because I don't need it. I really don't need it today, I'm not gonna lie. So long story short, it's one of those things that there's an exchange. Now this Hierophant could have literally this morning, early in the morning when you woke up, you could have been really peaceful, because he has a white hat or white headdress, right? So there was like, you woke up with such peace of mind today, and and then it was gentle and it was fine and it was yippee, you know what I'm saying? Like you were super like go for it today, like in terms of like you just felt good. You felt healed is what I want to say, right? And then all of a sudden another sense of healing comes around, just like there's so many forms of love, there's so many forms of healing, where it's like this bitch brought the fire. Like he's like all peaceful, slow mode, and he's like, oh, everything's cool, chill, whatever, and so he like kind of like, he was like gifting that to her, I guess, in the morning, and now she comes back and she's like, listen, thank you so much, I appreciate this gift of inner peace and inner mind, but listen, I now have to put up some fucking boundaries, because this is not going to work anymore in terms of like, like in terms of his type of peace, okay? This really honestly also, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but this really could mean that you kind of had a little bit of a battle in terms of either your family or the elderly today, because I don't know what it is. It's like the energies of like the young and the new, like the correlating of that is it's like old energies and new energies coming in. Like it's not even an adjustment period anymore. It's just realizing, listen, we don't fucking mesh. We don't mesh. And I literally realized that today, where I was just like, listen, I love all of these people, but I can no longer mesh energetically like with them, and I have to go find my people. You know what I'm saying? Like that's basically what it is. So yeah, this is definitely like short fused. It's funny how they depict the elderly with the children, right? Because they are a little bit childlike. Like the elderly and children are basically like the same. But the whole thing is, the elderly is no joke, because the fact that they are so set in their ways, right? Like they're like, and they're commanding. They're like, like a little kid can like try it, but he'll never get away with it. And then the older people, like they're commanding and demanding, thinking that they have an age, a wisdomness to them that kind of gives them that entitlement. And let me just tell you something, homie, don't play that. Like I've decided a long time ago, because I know who I live with, and I was like, no, we're gonna play the game of everybody's fucking human. That's all. I don't give a shit. And it's one of those things that it's like, and I was even, when I was cleaning today, I was even thinking to myself how I was like, it's very interesting that some people like want to do things the right way. And let me just tell you something. there's been so many opportunities that I could have fucking spoken and said something to other people, like spoken my mind, but I was like, oh, but it's their house, and like, you know, like, and it, like, so in terms of like, if I'm over somebody's house and they put you down, for instance, like, is that a scenario that you'll let slip by because of the fact that it's their house, they could say whatever they want? To me, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the environment anymore. You're never gonna fucking speak to another human being the way that you think you negatively can. Like, that's just not a fucking, that's a no-go with me. Also, the same with I'm not an ageist. I never will be. I'm never gonna be like, oh, this fucking old person and da da da. Like, no, because what it is like you're human. Actually, has nothing to do with elderly or not. I don't know if that even made sense because of how I was fucking down talking them, or like, you know, shit talking them. But like that's really who I am. It's like I don't even care about your age. What I do give a shit about is you fucking whipping your entitlement around and you not appreciating, because every human can be taught to appreciate, okay? And if you're not appreciating and you're too entitled, then you're gonna get a backlash from me. That's it. Like, I was like, that's because it's such bullshit. Like, what some people are gonna like kissing somebody's ass because they're fucking assholes. Like, no, I don't do that with anybody. Okay, I used to do that, but I can tell you right now, like, not happening. It's just not. I don't fucking, like I said, homie, don't play that no mo. So, you know, everybody can try, but they're not going to get away with it. And guess what? This bitch does not give up. So I don't give a shit what you fucking try to do in terms of keeping up your side of the effort. It's like, you better fucking quit now, because it's just better to be kind. That's all I have to say. So we're going to talk about, am I moving on to these? Yeah. So thank you, A-Team, so much for the highest and best one yin card at the top of this deck that supports the yin card that we've received out of the tarot. Thank you. Do I stop shuffling the cards right here right now? Yeah, I thought so. Oh, interesting. Okay. I love this card. This is such an awesome card. Inch by inch, life is a cinch. Yard by yard, life is hard. I love that one. That one's my one of my favorites. And it comes out a lot, actually. So again, the silver is always, to me, like angelic, like universal creativity. And the creativity is the orange, right? Sacral chakra. So also, it's one of the fiery chakras, right? So there is a creative passion coming up that they've granted you, I feel. Or you're using your creativity to basically rebalance the family around you. It could be like your actual family around you. Okay, so that's basically what's going on a yin level. Like, you're really, but what you're doing here is you're putting a lot of work into, I'm not saying people pleasing. Yes, there was people pleasing mixed into it, but it's more realizations about people pleasing. But you know you wanted to do it because it's like, when you leave, you want to have them set up for success. That's basically what it is, okay? And this also came with a little disappointment, I feel, because it's kind of like maybe in your family, and I don't know if I want to say it this way. Do I say it this way? Yeah, they're like, yeah, say it that way. Maybe in your family you feel a little disrespected or not honored in terms of your gifts. So you know that they're not going to actually appreciate it, but you're doing it anyway, which kind of feels fucking really shitty. But it's like, dude, you're doing it for the God. You're not even doing it for them. And you're doing it for the better of, you know, the better usage of your time. But also knowing that, because I was definitely divinely guided to like go through this closet that I had to go through. And I'm glad that I did, because it looks fucking hella sexy. But the whole thing is, as I was going through it, the process was a little, like, I was like, oh my God, you guys told me to do this, and now I feel like fucking shit that I'm doing it. But it was, Bako radim nešto, ne mogu da pričam. Bako, radim nešto, ne mogu da pričam. Okay, lako noć. Ti zatvori svetlo. Okay, bye. Laku noć. I knew she's so I have to like so this is the funny thing. I literally am I have been on a really good streak of dealing with an elderly that is battling a little bit of dementia, right? And not battling, but has, right? And so the whole thing is, it's like, I knew she wasn't gonna remember that I told her not to talk to me. But at the same time, I cannot hold my fucking emotions in because it's not easy all the time, okay? So it's like, so that's where I just feel like I need to humanize up and I need to fucking like, okay, I don't mind being kind at all, but at the same time, sometimes I just need to be real. You know what I'm saying? And I've been feeling that the realness needs to come out, because sometimes that gentleness is like super for someone else, which is beautiful, and for yourself. Let's not get it twisted. It's absolutely for yourself. To do something in a pleasurable way is beautiful. But at the same time, there was a realness that kicked in today, guys. That's what I'm trying to say here. That like was just like, okay, listen, we've done as much as we could on a pleasurable level, but the real aspect of it is like, we are finalized, we are done here. This needs to be cut the fuck off and move the fuck on. Like, that's basically what it is. And the 5 is freedom. The 5 is challenging, actually, as they like to say it. I don't really like to say it that way, but it's like positive movement in the right direction, and what's challenging is just getting accustomed to that change that's going on, right? So, but if you're really all trusting of the universe, like, you really have nothing to worry about, because it just so happens where you're just needing to adjust. That's what it is. It's like an adjustment period, and since people love to say no one likes change, which is, to me, a little bit of bullshit. Like, I actually don't like to believe that, because let me just tell you something. When people feel change, they get excited, okay? And those are the people that I like, because it's one thing to get excited about, because if there was no change, you would not get excited. This is what I'm trying to say. Even if you don't like change or you don't like surprises, you, like, at one point, you know that you're going to be very grateful for those changes, because if it was up to you, you would have left yourself in fucking stagnant ass, smelly ass energy. And, you know, sometimes the universe has to bust your ass a little bit in order to push changes and make them happen in your life, so that you can literally, like, fucking readjust and grow and all that stuff, right? Move forward. So, inch by inch, life is a cinch. Yard by yard, life is hard. So you are making small movements, but let me just tell you something. On a very yin level, you were fine with these small movements, but I feel like you wanted to make, you were dreaming towards the bigger movements. You were just kind of like, dude, like, when is this happening? Like, when is this real stuff coming in for me? Because right now, it's like you're in this. I want to say it's like you're in this dream state because of Pisces, because of, we're still in the Pisces season. So you're in this dream state, and you're like dreaming for your life to kind of start beginning and happening on a very, like, authentic, positive, real level. You know what I'm saying? And so you're kind of putting in all the effort that you could possibly do. But guys, let's not forget the Judgment card. It came out. So that means, and do I talk about the one right behind it? Yeah, I knew that. The one right behind it has a sun, so I'm thinking it's the sun card. Is it? XIX. Hold on one second, guys. Yeah, the sun. So the sun is coming at, wow, thank you, A-Team. Oh my God, I can, like, really feel that. So there is a happiness coming there in terms of Judgment is kind of the overall energy, and it's like, happiness is to be had after, like, as, like, this karmic, like, because you're going to start receiving the rewards that you really deserve. So today was one of those days where you're, like, doing all that you can, and you're doing what you're guided to do, but there's, like, you just know that you need to be living a better life. Like, you just know that there has to be something more to life, and you've been really I mean, putting in so much effort that the A team actually sees that you've been putting in so much effort into this life that you're living currently, and not only towards others. That's a confirmation. Not only towards others, but towards yourself as well. So it's kind of like you're doing great. You know what I'm saying? You're doing great. It's just, and you're expanding today, but you're also readjusting to these energies that are basically that have burnt out of you, but also are coming in. So there's a lot going on. Also, drink water. I know I mentioned that last night, but definitely drink water. A team, I'm asking, and thank you for the highest and best Yang card that supports the High Priestess card that we have here. Do I stop shuffling the cards right here, right now? All right. Yep. Here's the self-love card. There's a pink card. Okay. Damn, this is crazy. Mental activity keeps you busy at this time. Okay. That's so again, there's a lot of you've exemplified a lot of compassion with the pink, a lot of self-love you've learned. And the passion, the red, is like root chakra. You are in your root chakra today. Like, you have landed. Like, maybe that's why we like saw ET in there. It's like ET has motherfucking landed in your root chakra to be like, you're it. Like, you are now set. Like, you're standing in your power, you know? And the people, and that's what it is. Oh, see, this is very interesting. What's bothering you, or what has bothered me too today, in terms of, you know, really reevaluating and reassessing and reviewing like adults and their mindset today, is that when they retire and they get a little older, their mental activity like really decreases a lot, and it keeps them so not busy at any time whatsoever unless they get creative, right? But what I'm trying to say is that that's what I was pissed off at today, actually. So I'm really glad that this card came up, because what it is, it's like they're really, since they are so in control, or try to be in control of not even themselves but other people. And I see right through it. Like, it's just one of those things. The High Priestess has this fucking ability where it's just like, listen, we're gonna be no bullshit, okay? And she could feel the bullshit, and it actually pisses her off even more, because it's like, yo, if you could just be real, that would be so much easier on all of us. But the whole thing is, it's like, you can't expect that out of people because they haven't been taught that, okay? They are actually, a lot of people think that to be real is to be rude, okay? And what I think is that you can be real and you can be kind, and you could be real and you could be direct, but that's not rude at all. And you know, and even you could be real even through Mercury retrograde, from your heart, passionately speaking, just like me, and just know, and you could be like all knowing in today's knowledge and spirituality, so all knowing that you are being understood no matter what you're saying, because and actually realizing that even if you're not understood, you don't give a fuck. It's like one of those things, like you really just don't give a fuck, because today's a freeing day. You've freed yourself up spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically very soon, but physically you're feeling actually really great. Physically, like, you're feeling like flexible. You're feeling like you're feeling very fluid, you know what I'm saying? Which is beautiful. Like, you feel like a little kid. So this is what's so funny. It's like this morning you woke up like a little kid, right? And yet you were just reviewing a lot of this kind of like adult bullshit that kind of was put into your head, that, you know, about love, and about, actually, let's not even talk about love. And yet talk about it at the same time. It's like you've been reviewing all the fucking mental bullshit that was kind of like placed onto you, the last of it. Thank you, 18, for the 72, because that means that, yes, we are on the right track. So you basically were reviewing all the bullshit that like was so super not, it was all false. And again, falsicity came up, right? Where it's just like, it was all false, and it's actually hindering you in moving forward in your love life because of the fact that you're kind of maybe like replaying these traditional, like super traditional, and the Hierophant is actually traditional. It's also about marriage too. So you're like trying to like design or dream, right? You're trying to dream up of your like how you would want your future, relationship to be and things like that, right? And it's like what's hindering you is literally the past and what they've placed into your mind. And sometimes you don't even know what these little nooks and crannies are until, the divine intervention happens, which is divine creativity, right? Divine intervention happens and takes all these little nooks and crannies, right, the inch by inch, and they take it, they pluck it from you, and they kind of like burn it away, with the fire. It's like, because again, this is a lot of passionate, fiery energy going on, okay? That's some seriousness, okay? So what was I going to say? So inch by inch, they're just like plucking your feathers a little bit today, the A-team, to kind of like not have you, to kind of like just, again, burn away what no longer is necessary, because again, springtime is coming, guys, so it's kind of like the last of it until you until it's meant for you to bloom, which is very soon, right? And by blooming, I mean blooming in your love space. Like you are, because if you think about spring, I mean, spring literally is all about, I feel like a blooming love. Like there's just a lot going on, like I feel like God's glory is at its most beautiful because it's like everything's like bam, bam in your face, like kind of just like just really spreading its wings and flying. That was also another sign for today. So it's kind of like, spreading its feathers, spreading its, leaves, not leaves, but like, petals is what I meant. Petals, and, spreading its wings, spreading its everything, like its desire, like it's just spreading. Did I say it? Yeah, okay. Okay, so anyhow, guys, do we end it here? Yeah, so they're saying end it here because I don't feel like I have anything else to say. But that's basically what's going on. But guys, it's all for the highest and best good of the happiness that's coming in. So listen, if you're going through a little bit of a power struggle today, just know that it's fine. It's the way that it needs to be, and you're going to get right through it. It's just that you need to kind of stay like elevated and elitely elevated in your mental space, which means you have to kind of be a little bit more action driven instead of just being like, God forbid, like if you're just, because today it was not a day to relax, I don't think, even though you could be like I'm in spring, I'm literally in spring break mode, so like I can do whatever the fuck, and again, that's part of my freedom, but it's like spring break mode, literally you still have to kind of keep up with some sort of project to rely on, because if you're boredom is like the worst fucking thing that could actually happen to a healthy mind, okay? So make sure that you at least have a project that you're working on every day, and that'll really help you kind of get through anything, really, that's truly the case. So just stay creative, guys, stay passionate. Even if your passions kind of like take a little turn in terms of like you don't want to do this anymore, like it's just you don't feel like it's going to be appreciated, just know that you're doing what you're doing right now for the bigger picture, for Grandmaster G, Grand Majesty G, your higher self, because you're being told to do so, and it's for the greater good of others, but also your time is now coming. The Judgment card and the Sun card, it's now here, right? So that's how we're going to end it. So just know that that's the reading for today. You deserve it. And all blessings are beautiful. Just remember that. So